Pack watch. We're celebrating. It's a beautiful day. I'm celebrating the death of KHAMENEI. I'll give it a little bit for people to join in, but it's actually beautiful, man. We're winning. We're winning big time. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. I'm just going to give things a minute or two for people to join, guys. But seriously, what a fucking gorgeous, beautiful day. I'm so happy. Literally could not get better. Literally could not get better. Got 100 people on Twitter, about 15 on YouTube watching live. If you're watching, make sure to leave a like. We got some comments. Unconfirmed reports that Kaya, Hassan's dog, has died. That's a very sad thing. I know that Hassan Park is probably bashing his dog right now because he's upset. That's actually extremely sad. Hassan Piker bashing his dog right now. Literally, we need a full intervention to save Kaya, save the dog, because right now Hassan Piker is definitely going to be beating his dog because he's so upset. He's obviously so upset about the destruction of KHAMENEI. I'm actually so happy. I actually could not be more happy. This is total revenge against the third world. Total revenge against third world. It's so gorgeous. These people who've tried to destroy the West for so long. We're actually crushing the forces of the global south. We're crushing the political forces of the global south. It's actually gorgeous. The global south is losing today. That is such a good news. That's such good news. Such good news. Is he really dead? Yes, Iranian state regime television literally confirmed just before. They literally confirmed just before. Yeah, that's Iranian state television. Iranian state television has confirmed. That's fucking beautiful. That's beautiful. We've got a full confirmation. Such a good day. All the worst people are crying, by the way. You know, Mehdi Hassan is fucking seething. Hassan Piker is seething. They're just losing so badly. Losing so badly. I'm sorry, I like Milo, but he's really lost his mind here.
و پیش قراول امت اسلامی حضرت امام خامنه ای
announcing the death.
با نوشیدن شهد گوارای شهادت در ماه مبارک رمضان به ملکوت اعلا پیوست. شورای عالی امنیت ملی در این زمینه
You love America more than Australia. No, that's not the case. See, Australia is part of the Western world. And because we're part of the Western world, that means the United States is our Rome. So loving America is like loving Rome as somebody who's part of the Roman world. It's actually beautiful, okay? This is Western civilization. I know that you guys are seething right now. I know you guys are seething. I'm so happy that Australian Pine Gap had something to do with this. I'm going to make a post actually about that, Pine Gap, Australia. God bless Pine Gap. Pack watch, fucking pack watch. This is beautiful, guys. If you're watching, make sure to leave a like. We've got 15 people on YouTube. I think we've got like 150 people watching live on Twitter. Make sure to leave a like. Make sure to leave a like, guys. And if you're watching on Twitter, you should go through to my YouTube. It's a lot better there. I have to be honest. It's a lot better. Twitter is not necessarily built for live streaming the same way as YouTube. Sammy Gold, he's crying. He's crying. Let's listen to Sammy.
There was attacks on Israeli forces. There was attacks on Israel, but nothing that shows really like there's no tit for tat. There's no Israeli official, government soldier, etc., whose death equals Khamenei.
Yeah, Sammy's sad.
So
Sammy's really sad because there's no death equaling Khamenei on the Western side.
On the first day of the U.S.-Israel-Iran war, the U.S. clearly has the advantage, right? Now, the question is, what comes next? And I mean, there's a couple thoughts that I have for my own 2 cents. One is that
okay, this is boring. I'm leaving the Sammy Gold live. This is just like literally cope. Oh wow, he should have been killed. He didn't die as a result of a court trial. Like, you're never going to get him on trial, retards. You're never going to get him on trial. They tried that. It's not going to work. Literally. Drew, please explain what involvement Pine Gap had, if any. I missed that. So Pine Gap in Australia has always been involved in basically processing very high-level signals intelligence for America. So Pine Gap definitely would have had an involvement in this strike, which is this beautiful thing. I'm very glad. I'm very glad. Ayatollah's last words. Oh, so that's what Palantir does. Palantir is a beautiful company, okay? It's a beautiful, patriotic company filled with people who love the West, heroes who love the West. We love Palantir. We love Anduril. Beautiful companies. Any company that is pro-West, I fucking love them. Lockheed Martin, Bay Systems, you fucking beauty. Has there ever been a truly terrible person who was pro-Palestine? Yes, almost all of them, dude. Bushra is fucking coping so hard. It's so funny. Holy shit, she should be deported. She should not be living in Britain. We are going to deport you. Bushra is getting deported.
I'm so sorry. Let's...
Nobody cares, retard. Trump is actually the best president of my lifetime. Literally the best president of my lifetime. He took out Maduro and Khamenei in literally like 2 months. Best president of my lifetime. Best president of my lifetime. Literally could not get better. Russia never hit a school full of children in over 3 years of war in Ukraine. Russia does it every day. Does that almost every month, you fucking freak. You know what's crazy? I think I've like literally been here in Dubai Airport. I think I've like literally been to that exact part of Dubai Airport before. And it's crazy. Like Iran hit it. Iran just like was lashing out like retards, just hitting random shit. This is such cope. Oh, wow. It's a goy war. You're fucking retarded. You're fucking retarded. You're basically no better than a gay race communist. You're fucking retarded. These are the streets of Tehran right now. It's actually beautiful. This is beautiful. We need to help these beautiful women gain their freedom once again. We are liberating these beautiful women. And if you hate this, you're gay. If you hate this, you're gay. I'm just telling you the truth. Kinzinger's just coping, like hates Trump so much, TDS, that he's just crying, oh, you know, should have gone to Congress. If you went to Congress, Khamenei wouldn't be dead right now because he would be hiding away.
To solve the Gaza question finally. Now they get to go in and kill them all and ethically cleanse this region.
Oh, wow. Nick Fuentes predicted. Need to make sure I've got Nostradamus right. Yeah. Gay Mexican Nostradamus strikes again. What can you do? The gay Mexican Nostradamus, he can just see the future. The gay Mexican Nostradamus can see the future. It's very hard when he can see the future like this. Trump is good in the Middle East, but awful in Europe. I wish Trump listened to Rubio more than Vance and Wiskov. I agree. Look, Rubio is the hero. Rubio is the hero. I really want Rubio to be the next president. I love Rubio. He's a fucking patriot. Fucking patriot. Drew, we have a similar, if not the exact same foreign policy, but we have some probably big disagreement on immigration policy. I'm someone who is pro-immigration, but only on hardcore integration programs. Look, it's interesting. We can have a discussion about all this. At the end of the day, I think we need to maintain stable demographics to maintain social cohesion, stop massive social unrest happening across the West. It's pretty obvious, I think, in my mind. It's actually so funny they killed Khamenei on Ramadan. That's actually just based. So based they killed him on Ramadan. It was actually gorgeous. Beautiful. They killed the fasting man. Yeah, it sucks shit. Yeah, we are literally going to get Bushra deported. It's going to be beautiful. The next government of Britain is literally going to deport her. It's going to be actually very beautiful. We love Pine Gap. We love Pine Gap. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Drew, what do you think about the countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and other countries that are being struck by Iran? It's funny that, look, Iran has no options. They're just striking out uselessly at random innocent countries that did nothing. They're just hitting random skyscrapers in Dubai. They hit the Burj Khalifa. They hit the Burj Al Arab. It's just like literally coping. It's the war equivalent of coping. They literally have zero chance to actually fight the United States. So they just hit random skyscrapers in Dubai. It's the military equivalent of cope. I'd love to debate Drew on immigration to find what we have in common, what our disagreements are. Look, that's interesting. Maybe message my page, man, and we can discuss. Syrian girl on suicide watch. Jackson Hinkle, he visits a country. 6 months later, the dictatorship gets blown up. It's actually gorgeous. He's an agent of the West. It's powerful. Beautiful. This must hit hard if you're retarded. In the name of God, the compassionate and the merciful, among the faithful are men who fulfill what they have pledged to Allah. There are some among them who have fulfilled their pledge and some of them who still wait, and they have not changed in the least. Beautiful. How beautiful. God bless. God bless. So powerful. So funny. They are actually fully coping now. Holy shit. Doominat is actually retarded. How come I can't post that? Maybe they've blocked me. Oh, they've blocked me. So fucking retarded. Ian Carroll is a fucking retard. He's just retarded. Really weak. Your face looks so round today. Thank you, Osnian. Very funny. As a Muslim who hates terrorism and Islamism, so great to hear Khamenei is dead. Yes, it's beautiful. Where can I message you, Drew? Message me on Twitter, man, or Instagram or something like that. Let's see what Syrian Girl is saying. As I said, he will receive the Islamic equivalent of sainthood. Just such cope. She's coping so hard. It's very funny. Are you tired of losing? Syrian Girl wants your number, Drew. Trust. I'm not attracted to her. She's disgusting. She's an evil bitch. Drew, have you noticed a bunch of Western leftists and rightists are having a bad time right now? Yes, only retarded people, really. Only very retarded people. They could not do and then he's literally dead one day later. They're trying to do hype edits for Khamenei and he's already dead. That's so funny. It's actually really funny. Fuentes is live on Rumble. Okay, let's watch this. This will be interesting. I will observe what Fuentes is saying. Syria Girl's PFP was hot, but she hit the wall. She declined big time. I think she's just an evil bitch.
Even those that are misguided, even those that persecute us.
Damn, already 40,000 people watching live. That's a big one. I have to admit, Fuentes obviously has a huge audience. Let's see what he wants to say. I think he's coping. Drew, what's your message to Alexander Dugin? You know, like literally cry more, fucking third world scum. Why can't he said he's live? Why is he just live on Rumble discussing the US-Israel regime change war in Iran? Okay, I'm here. It's not live.
The Canary mission is an Israeli-funded black.
Okay, I'm just gonna wait until Fuentes actually goes live. I want to watch what he says, but Fuentes does 1 hour intros. Yeah, boring. Hinkle is living in Russia right now. Hinkle's living in Russia right now, which is very funny. Patriotic. It's actually beautiful. Yep, Dugan's Third World, this wholesome Chungus trad alliance genuinely fell apart in 1 year. It's actually gorgeous, man. It's actually so beautiful. Eurasianism is dead. It's actually beautiful. Eurasianism is fully dead. Fully dead. Duganism completely destroyed, defeated. It's beautiful. BRICS is dead. Eurasianism is dead. Victory for the West over the Third World. There's a lot of coping in the replies here.
The Iraq War remembers the videos of Baghdad.
So Tate's saying it's not actually happening. Okay, that's interesting. Let's
when
see.
A real war begins. That hasn't happened. That hasn't happened in Dubai.
It's not a real war.
Happened
Okay.
in Tehran, and it certainly hasn't happened in Tel Aviv. A real war would see
Drew, you look like the Chud meme. Based. We are Chuds. Okay.
Blacklist.
Okay, apparently Fuentes.
Point attack.
Okay, let's see.
Very right circumstances. Good evening, everybody. You're watching America First. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We have a great show for you tonight, and I wish it was under better circumstances. Normally, I'd say I'm excited to be here with you, but this is a very interesting turn of events. And tonight we're here with an emergency broadcast, a special Saturday episode here on the weekend to discuss the historic world-changing events of last night. I'm sure, as you all know, we are now living in a new world. As Oliver Anthony would say, we are living in a new world. Last night, the United States and Israel launched a joint attack against Iran. And make no mistake about it, this should be made unequivocally clear right now. This is a regime change war. That is what the president said. That is what it is. And so the reason I say this is because last year, when Israel and the United States engaged Iran for the first time directly, as they did in Operation Midnight Hammer and the so-called 12-day war in June of 2025, it was contentious whether we called this a war because of the end game, because of the mode of attack.
By the way, guys, I think there's 40 people watching live on my YouTube and about 200 watching live on Twitter. If you're watching on my Twitter, you should go to my YouTube, subscribe. We're almost at 12,000 subscribers. And if you're on YouTube, leave a like so it reaches more people. Okay, let's see what Fuentes
should be made clear is that we are now engaged against the Islamic Republic of Iran in a full-fledged regime change effort.
That's true, and there's nothing wrong with it.
And this is ours. We bought this. We're in it. This is our country now. This is the world. So tonight, we're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into what is happening in Iran. We're going to talk about the attack. We'll talk about the prelude to it. We'll talk about the actual operation. We're going to talk about Iran's counterattack, which seems to be mostly ineffective. And contrary to a lot of the hype from Iran itself and some of Iran's biggest defenders in the United States, there is not any meaningful pushback that has materialized. Just isn't there. Not from them, not from the axis of resistance. But we'll talk a little bit about their strategy. We're going to talk about the day after. It has been reported by the New York Times that this is expected to be a 4-day operation. That is a report from the media, so that's not 100%. The media is telling us that this will last for a little bit more than half of a week. However, the Trump administration says we are going to keep going. And it might be less than that. It might be more than that.
Welcome back to streaming, Drew. Yes, I'm going to get back into streaming this year.
But it depends on the outcome, and it depends on the effect that it has on the Iranian regime. We're going to talk tonight about what happens the day after. When this operation concludes, what exactly is the outcome here? And we are being told, according to the president's statement last night, that the goal is to liberate the Iranians. Where have we heard this before? Very fresh concept. We will be greeted as liberators. You could call this Operation.
They literally are. They are literally celebrating in the streets right now. There are literally fireworks being let off in Tehran.
Iranian freedom. And we are there to liberate them from tyranny by destroying their regime and leaving.
Yeah, the outcome is that we win.
And as history has shown in the Middle East, this always works. It always works. Bombing and deposing an oppressive tyrant and then either staying or leaving. It's always as easy to do as it is to say, and there's never any fallout, never any unintended consequences.
Literally true.
So we'll talk a little bit about what the end game is there for the Trump administration, what the plan is, if there is any, and what the prospects are for who will control Iran in the future. And that'll be our show. I'm going to lay it all out, and we'll try to unravel what exactly is happening here and where we're going. So that's going to be our show. Very excited to get into all of this with you. Before we get into the show, I want to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble, smash the like button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the show. You can post your apology forms, or you can tell me how grateful you are for the show, for the predictions. You're welcome.
Wentz is upset.
Be sure to leave a comment.
Wentz is sad that America is a hyperpower. Wentz is sad that America is a hyperpower, that it's completely dominating and defeating its geopolitical enemies, that an Islamic regime that preached death to America has been dismantled and destroyed with 0 U.S. casualties. That's what he's upset about. It's actually so fucking weak. It's so fucking cringe.
Smash the like button, subscribe. Check out our merch store, Fuentes.store, and subscribe to our brand new subscriber website, AmericaFirst.plus. We have our actually new and improved website, downloadable MP3s and RSS feed of the show. We actually have 5 episodes of the show free on the website with a very good video player. People say it's better than Rumble. So check that out too. AmericaFirst.plus. $100 a month, you get to be in a group chat with me. And we'll shill a little bit, but not too much, because it's a very serious occasion. Now, before we get into all of the news, before we get into the actual strikes and how this is playing out and where all of this is going, I have one thing to say to all of you, to all of the Trump supporters, to all of the Trump voters, to the plan trusters.
Oh, we hate watching Nick, yep.
To the Shabbos goys out there.
The Shabbos guys. He's actually upset that the US is completely dominating and dismantling its geopolitical enemies. How fucking spiritually raped can you be? You don't like Jews, so you actually end up having to bemoan and cry and literally weep that the United States is a hyperpower. How spiritually raped can you get? How spiritually raped can you get that you are literally witnessing America as a hyperpower, completely dominating and dismantling its enemies geopolitically? And you're literally weeping and crying because you don't like the Jews. How spiritually, mentally raped can you get?
I really just have one thing to say to all of you, which is, I told you so.
You told us so. I'm glad that America went in. I'm glad that America went in, dominated its geopolitical rival, completely smashed them. America is our Rome. It's the Western civilization. They're winning. And when they win, I win, because we're all part of Western civilization. It's our Rome, and Rome is winning. And these guys are fucking weeping and crying and gnashing their teeth. How fucking spiritually and mentally raped can you get that you're actually sad that your own country is a hyperpower that's actually winning and actually dominating its rivals and its enemies?
I told you so. They said I was crazy when I predicted this 2 years ago in 2020.
Oh, wow. You predicted 2 years ago that when Iranian proxies went into Israel and massacred a bunch of people. You predicted that there would be a conflict between America and Israel and Iran. Wow. Gay Mexican Nostradamus. He strikes again. He peers into the future. He peels back the veil of the future. He peels back the veil of the future and he can see into the distance. Everybody could have said that. Literally everybody could have said that, retard. That when Iranian proxies went into Israel and went on a day of rape, pillage, massacre, rampage, that there's going to be a conflict. Everybody could have told you that. Anybody who's not retarded.
2024, I told you this is exactly what would happen. I have been saying it for
literally a fucking 10-year-old could have told you what would have happened.
Years. I was laughed at. I was attacked. They called me crazy. Well, sometimes chicken.
Literally everybody could have seen this happening. What, Iranian proxies go into Israel, they go on a day of raping and massacring. And you think there's not going to be a conflict between Israel and Iran, and there's not going to be a conflict between America and Iran. You actually have to be retarded not to be able to see that. You have to be fucking retarded. Literally a 10-year-old could have seen that. And this guy thinks he's Nostradamus.
Chicken Little knows what he's talking about. And I told you so. I said a vote for Trump is a vote for a war with Iran.
Based. That's based. That's why I like Trump.
And I tried. You know that. I really did. I went out there in August of 2024, and I actually made the demand on Truth Social and on Twitter. I rallied my audience, my followers, and the call to action was clear. I said, we cannot, should not vote for Trump unless he commits not to bring us to war in Iran. So I took a lot of flack for not voting. I took a lot of flack. People said I flirted with supporting Kamala or the Democrats, or supporting them or voting them, that I had flipped, that I was in league with Joe Biden or something like that. But I made it very clear in August 2024. I said I am willing to vote for Trump. As a matter of fact, I'd like to vote for Trump. I said, but I won't do it unless he makes a commitment not to bring us to war. And he didn't do that. And sometimes he couldn't do that. Because
this is the problem with the isolationist spurgs. Sometimes war is good. Sometimes war is good if it means defeating your enemies. If you're victorious, if you can fight a winning war with 0 casualties and defeat your enemies, that's a good thing. And only retarded people would see that as a bad thing. Like it's just retarded, cringe, spiritually raped pacifism. Oh, war is always bad. No, war is bad when you lose. War is good if you win. And America is winning right now. So if you're having a problem with that, you just hate winning. You hate winning. You hate power. You don't want America to exercise power in the world. You don't want America to be the new Rome. That's weak. That's pathetic. That's a fate. That's a feat. You're actually a feat if you think that.
Because that was always part of the plan. Trump's ascendancy from the very beginning. And when I say the beginning, I mean 2016. It was always part of this plan. This plan by Israel made decades ago, perhaps centuries ago.
Yeah, good post here. Where is the war? Nobody could show me the war in Venezuela. Did a single American die? Not a single American died and they're crying. Not a single American died and they're crying. How spiritually raped can these people get? They see their country as a hyperpower, go out, defeat its enemies, 0 casualties, and they cry. Well, because war's bad. War's bad if you lose. War's good if you win. And America's winning. So if you have a problem with that, you are literally spiritually cucked. You're spiritually, mentally raped.
To terraform the Middle East and make it a place that is not safe for Israel, but make it a place that submits to Israel. This is about regional hegemony for that country. And they have used Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and the MAGA movement as a Trojan horse for that agenda from the beginning. It was Trump that withdrew the United States from the original Iranian nuclear deal. It was Trump who assassinated Qasem Soleimani. It was Trump that bombed Fordo, Esfahan, and Natanz last year. And now it is Trump that is delivering what Israel has always wanted, what they have wanted this entire century for the past 25 years, what they have tried to pressure every U.S. president since George W. Bush to do, and that is to once and for all confront and topple the Iranian regime, eliminating the last of Israel's rivals and giving them free reign over one of the most important and consequential regions in the world, and that is the Middle East. That
Literally
is the
zero
heart
American
of the
casualties.
Rimland. And Trump has done it, and he was always a part of that. So I do just want to.
They cry about everything, and they are suicidally empathetic, inviting their own demise and bringing people who hate them and want to do them harm. Yeah, that's literally Fuentes. He's fine with Islamists streaming into the West because he thinks, oh, they're base, they'll help us against Zog. He's a fucking retard.
To get that out of the way because I think it's a little bit deserved. I told you so. I told you it happened like this.
Anybody could have seen this happening. Anybody could have seen this happening with a brain. Iranian proxies go out and massacre and rape a bunch of Israelis. Of course, there's going to be a war, retard.
Said broken clock is right twice a day. Well,
let's go live.
Enriched uranium, but also Bushehr, where Iran operates a Russian-provided nuclear power plant. And lastly, they targeted, and this is the big one, regime military assets. So missile launch platforms, their missile manufacturing cities, where they actually have underground an entire city to build their missiles. The U.S. targeted their Navy, targeted their defense ministry, their intelligence ministry, the executive function of the military, and all the hardware. Very shortly after the strikes began, and rumors surfaced of this on social media, video was posted, the president made a statement. And I have to tell you, this was the most disturbing, surreal thing I think I've witnessed maybe since the COVID pandemic. And if you saw this live, you know what I'm talking about. The president posted a formal address last night announcing the operation and discussing the goals of the operation and some expectations about what will happen. And he announced it wearing no necktie in a baseball cap that says USA in front of a black curtain by himself. And without getting too much into this quite yet, because we will arrive there eventually, there is something particularly surreal when you measure and weigh the gravity of the situation and its significance for the United States. Obviously, the United States has been involved in the Middle East for a very long time, doing exactly this sort of thing. Regime change, proxy warfare, fighting terrorism, ostensibly, deploying massive amounts of air, sea, and ground power. And the entire conceit of this MAGA movement of President Trump, the whole reason we're doing this, nominally, this was supposed to be in opposition to the Iraq War and to the legacy of the Iraq War and all of the other associated interventions. Now, we know that the same people that were behind the war in Iraq, they're the same people that have been beating the drum for war in Iran for just as much time. And they have tried to pressure many presidents into doing this, and they have moved the United States closer to a conflict like this. And so Trump, being the one who was supposed to challenge and oppose all of this, who repudiated it and created this successful political movement, now to be delivering for the same people, repudiating those people and their agenda, for him now to be serving them, delivering for them what they have wanted for so long. Number one on their wish list. It's actually disturbing. It's disturbing what it says about how our country works, whether we, the people, are still in control. Is this a government of, by, and for the people? Do elections matter? Does the popular will matter in our representative democracy?
This is Cope. He's just actually sad that his country is a hyperpower that is defeating its enemies. He hates the Jews so much that he's mad that America is literally asserting itself as the most powerful nation in the world. What an actual fucking cuck. Spiritually raped.
In our republic.
Good point by John here. No one has any credible evidence the school was even hit. It was reported by Iranian state media. Yeah, good point.
If we vote to repudiate a policy, a foreign interest group, a special interest group, repudiate a particular agenda, and we get that agenda anyway, that war, those people, regardless, what does that say about the political state, the actual true political reality of the United States of America? If anything, it just verifies what Trump said from the very beginning, which is that we are no longer in control.
Yeah, like literally any credible evidence that isn't the IRGC's completely not credible statement being reposed all over and used as gospel. Yeah, good point.
The people are no longer sovereign. And we knew that. That is something.
Send John Lyons to inspect the school personally. Well said. Send John Lyons. Oh my God. I watched the ABC News coverage and it was actually despicable. We watched the Australian public broadcaster literally contort itself and they presented literally Tehran style state television. Like you were watching ABC News and you were thinking, is this Iran state television? It was actually fucking incredible. It was actually incredible. I was watching Australian public broadcaster ABC News. I was watching that. I was thinking, is this fucking Iranian press TV? John Lyons was crying. He was literally cry wanking. Like he was like sort of like orgasming while he was crying. It was literally pathetic. It was disgusting. It was like some kind of like weird BDS thing. He had like a woman in a hijab like sort of pouring hot molten candle wax down his back while he cried on state television about how Khamenei was dead. This was the Australian public broadcast last night. It was actually disgusting. It was disgusting. Nipples protruding. It was disgusting.
Something that we had always known and we had always suspected. This is confirmation.
Nick Fuentes says the people decide the nation's fate, and Drew and Chat got mad. Yeah, no, the people did decide the nation's fate. Americans voted for Trump, and Trump just helped destroy the Iranian regime with 0 U.S. casualties. The democratically elected president of the United States exercised his will democratically to destroy the Iranian state regime, and he did it with no U.S. casualties. Beautiful. That's American democracy.
Confirmation. This is an illegitimate regime. The Constitution, representative democracy, our republic.
He's saying Trump's an illegitimate regime. Literally, it's actually retarded. It's actually retarded.
Is effectively over. You can vote for a candidate that repudiates the global war on terror, the war in Iraq, regime change, someone that explicitly promises not.
Well said, Luce. Appreciate it. Destroying evil is a primordial Western value. Well said. Well said.
To bring us into new conflicts. Someone that explicitly campaigns as the peace president, no new wars, and you'll get all of it anyway.
This is the guy, by the way. This is the Australian ABC News journalist who had like a woman in a hijab like pouring hot candle wax down his back while he was like cry wanking about Khamenei dying on the ABC broadcast last night. It was actually disgusting. It was actually foul. It was actually foul. I was watching it and I was saying to myself, how is this allowed? How is this legal? It's disgusting.
We are in a state of distress. This is not a republic.
We are in a state of distress because my country is a hyperpower that just defeated all of its enemies with 0 U.S. casualties. Like what a spiritually raped cuck statement. We are oppressed by an illegitimate regime because my country is a superpower. Oh, I just want to go out to the farm and I just want to be left alone. Remember that funny Nick Fuentes clip where he's mocking the kind of like white separatists who are like, I just want to go out to the farm and live on the farm and we'll build wheat and we'll build a tractor. Remember when like Fuentes was mocking the white separatists? That's literally what he's doing right now. He's sad that his country is the most powerful country in the world and as a hyperpower just destroyed one of the most evil regimes on the planet that has hated the US for 50 years, destroyed them with 0 US casualties. And he's crying about that because it's like, oh, I just want to be out at the farm. I just want to have a tractor. It's actually he's in distress because his country's powerful. He wants to like live on the fucking farm as a white separatist. Just weak.
Public anymore. That's over. And the MAGA movement.
Yeah, we're in distress because my country's a hyperpower that just crushed all its enemies with 0 casualties. We're in distress. We're in distress because our country's a hyperpower that is leading Western civilization and just destroyed and crushed all its enemies with 0 casualties. We're in distress. I just want to be out on the farm with a fucking tractor harvesting wheat. It's so unfair. It's so unfair.
Movement is surely dead, of course. But anyway, I digress. I watched the speech last night, very uncanny and disturbing and strange. And you need to listen to the speech because the speech lays out exactly what this is. Trump talks about the entire history of U.S.-Iranian relations. He goes back to the 1979 Iranian hostage crisis, to the Beirut barracks bombing in 1983. He discussed Iran's use of IEDs and their backing of Shiite militias in Iraq. What is the purpose of all of this? What is the purpose of all of this history? Well, he is making the case. As
The Western values should be in service of Western victory, okay? I want the West to win. Our values are subordinate to victory for the West. What good are values if the Iranian regime is slaughtering 50,000 people and we do nothing about it? What good are our values if China and Russia just slaughter hundreds of thousands, millions of people, and we do nothing about it? Our values are subordinate to Western victory.
As they say, in how this operation is being conducted is with missiles launched from ships and with air power. It is with our carriers, which bring the air
Based. That's actually so based that they're using US carriers to kill the Iranian regime officials.
power to the region. It is with bombers, which have been stationed in other countries. It is an air and sea campaign. Now, this creates a conundrum here, because again, if the goal is the maximalist objective, which is to topple the Iranian
Yeah, we've got a retard in the chat who's saying fascism is when you overthrow dictatorships that hate you. That's retarded.
regime, we
That's
are going
retarded.
all
Okay,
the
if-
way.
Why must democracy be associated with impotence? Why must democracy be associated with impetus in the minds of the left, where we have to allow all these dictatorships that hate us to just go around slaughtering hundreds of thousands, millions of people for decades with no consequences? That's impotence. That's weak. Democracy should be powerful. Democracy should be strong hyperpowers that crush the enemies of democracy.
Again, it's not about degrading their capabilities. It's not about weakening them. If the goal is to exterminate the Iranian regime, we're going all the way and toppling them. It raises the question, how is that going to be done with air and sea power alone? We now have the goal. We also now have the mode. We know what the Trump administration is seeking, and we know how they seek to achieve it. But the problem that is created is that historically, you cannot achieve.
Well said, 51 Bard. Well said. The entire Latina belt will be free. The entire Latina belt, we are going to free them.
A regime change through air and sea power alone. Why is that? Because although you can bomb civilian government facilities, you can bomb military facilities, you can destroy the Navy, you can destroy hardware, anti-aircraft systems. On the other side of all of the bombing, there are still going to be 200,000 Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps soldiers, and they will be armed.
Latina Persian baddies. We're gonna free them. We're gonna free them. We love the Latina Persian baddies. The entire Latina belt will be free. It's a beautiful thing. Someone says only 42 viewers on YouTube. I've got 50 people watching live on YouTube and like a couple hundred on Twitter. You see, my YouTube's a lot smaller. If you're on my Twitter, go through to my YouTube, leave a like, subscribe. It's very important.
On the other side of this, you are still going to have, all in, about 1 million Iranian security personnel between the IRGC, the Iranian Armed Forces, and the internal security forces. You can decapitate, you can cut off the head of the snake, you can kill some or half or all of the regime, you can blow up all of their major weapon systems. But on the other side of the bombing campaign, there will be a country of 90 million people. And the only apparatus in place to control those people with the use of force that is organized into a hierarchy behind an ideology with some semblance of legitimacy, with experience, it's going to be the very same Iranian regime. This is the problem. Blow up.
Drew doesn't bot. Maybe we should bot. Maybe we should bot, my friends. Maybe we should bot. This guy's blocked me. It's very sad. The war is going to end right now. Antonio Gutierrez just called for a ceasefire. The UN says it must be over. It's over If the UN calls for a ceasefire, it's over, my friends. I'm a proud Jewish American. Well said. Me too. Me too. We all are. You do bot. Your TikTok and X followers are botted. It's literally not botted. I'm tired of this anti-Jewish nonsense. Well said. Well said. Fuentes is fucking boring. Let's go back to something else. Let's go back to something else. I already know everything that Fuentes is going to say. There's literally nothing that he could say that's new or interesting. This is total post-October 7 Israeli victory. No way around it. Based. Q1 2026. Fucking based. It's actually so fucking based. I hope the US releases like a death image of Khamenei. It'd be based. This man right here, Yahya Sinwar, is literally the most retarded military leader of all time. Destroyed Hamas, Hezbollah, Assad's regime, Khamenei's regime. Literally, what was the fucking point? Literally, what was the fucking point? Okay, they got Hania, but they won't get Nasrallah. They got Nasrallah, but they won't get Sinwar. They got Sinwar, but they won't get Khamenei. They what? Faced. Total victory for the West. Ashley Babbitt died so this war could happen. Thank you, Patriot. You're telling me Iran convened the Supreme Leader and 30 senior officials in one room while US naval assets were literally sitting nearby waiting with Trump threatening? Cartoonish level stupidity. Like they made Al Mahfoud look like Einstein. I guess either they misread the deterrence calculus completely or they believe the optics of cohesion outweighed the operational vulnerability. Either way, this has to be the most retarded shit I've ever seen and supposedly not idiotic regime do for a long shit time. Where there is an Ethel Rosenberg, there will be a Roy Cohn based.
This is being driven by Israel, and what we just heard was my main impression is that this is being driven by Israel, and what we just heard was the President of the United States, in my assessment, almost saying word for word, Israel's agenda.
Oh, wow. Third worlders think this is so base because they found one white guy who speaks like a third worlders. Who cares? How is America bankrupted? There's no forever war here. They killed Khamenei in like literally 1 hour and there's no US casualties. Get a grip, dude. Get a grip. America's winning. There's no US casualties. There's no forever war. You just literally need to calm down. Roy Cohn is base. Yep, Roy Cohn is so base. It's not even confirmed that 100 children died. That's just potentially Iranian propaganda.
But if launched in a surprise attack in Israel. However, it is their mass production of cheap ballistic missiles, and they source components from China and Russia, and they're making hundreds of them all the time. It is this massive stockpile and capability.
Watch this.
Create, explore.
Rubio 2028. We love Rubio, man. We love Rubio. He's a fucking patriot.
Because the Iranian people are not organized. They're not
Back to the Fuentes C thing.
armed. They don't have backing from a superpower patron, or at the minimum, coordinating with them on the ground. Have to assume some of that is happening, but we haven't seen any real movement take hold, least of all in the protests last month. So the people cannot spontaneously get together and form a new government. If that's the case, then in a week or 2 weeks' time after the bombs start dropping, the only force that is even capable of picking up the pieces of enforcing any semblance of order in the country will be the same security apparatus as before. It's going to be the Revolutionary Guard. It's going to be the armed forces. It's going to be the besieged. Now, perhaps the Trump administration is counting on the survivors of this attack being more pliable. Very similar to Venezuela. What did Trump do in Venezuela? Well, he picked up Maduro, and the vice president, the second in command, just filled his spot. We didn't even necessarily destroy their entire military. We didn't destroy their armed forces. We killed about 100 palace guards, Cuban intelligence, and Venezuelan security forces, kidnapped Maduro in the hopes that the successor, who is a part of the same apparatus, would be more open to negotiating. And they see what happens to the president. They see what the United States is capable of, and they realize that you can't win this one. Your defensive.
Yeah, Marco Rubio like literally backed me when I was getting blacklisted by the CCP back in 2020 when he was a senator. He's a hero. He's a patriot.
Capabilities will not work. You cannot inflict pain on the United States. It is utter domination. You are crushed. And so the choice of the vice president is you're either going to go the way of Maduro and die or be imprisoned, or you're going to find a way to work with the United States. And that's the model. And it is telling that these two operations have happened so close to one another. It was just not even 2 months ago that the United States pursued a faux regime change in Venezuela. Is it a true regime change? Well, the entire security apparatus remains in place. The Chavista government remains in place. It is Delcy Rodriguez, Maduro's vice president, who now rules the country with the same defense minister, the same intelligence minister. So it's a decapitation without a regime change. It's a form of persuasion, aggressive negotiations. We took your leader and now we've left you with no options. Perhaps this is the formula in Iran. Decapitate the regime, kill the Ayatollah, kill the top IRGC commanders, make them vulnerable and defenseless, remove hope from the equation.
Based. Remove hope from the equation for the fucking third worlders who hate us. That's based.
Without a navy, without missiles, without their high-ranking security personnel, they must realize they are completely vulnerable. They are completely defenseless and completely open. Is that perhaps the calculation? That whoever, whether it's the second, third, fourth, fifth guy in the chain of command, whoever survives, when that person rises above, maybe it's some other faction or element in the security services, whoever survives and claims to speak for the remnant of the Iranian regime, maybe the Trump administration is counting on that person simply being willing to negotiate. And you leave the internal security apparatus in place. You don't go like you did in Iraq and put them all on trial and kill all of them and de-Baathify them, re-educate them and reintegrate them or something like that. But you simply swap out an obstinate leader with a more pliant leader, and you work on a new understanding where the Iranian regime can cooperate with the United States. Now, here are the problems with this way of thinking. Again, you're not going to remove an entrenched regime with air and sea power alone. The Trump administration knows that. The Department of War knows that. They know that if they really wanted to replace all these people, they would need a rival security service, political faction, and nothing of that sort exists. There are people that oppose the regime. There are other claimants to rule Iran, but none of them have the necessary support. None of them have the necessary organization or weapons. So it looks very unlikely that, again, any force other than a remnant of the Iranian security apparatus will rule afterward. And you have to expect that the Trump administration knows that. And so perhaps this is the expectation. They will pound Iran, hit them so hard, again, make them utterly defenseless so that there is not even the delusion, there is not even the myth that Iran is going to be striking a carrier with a hypersonic missile, that Iran is going to destroy Israel with thousands of missiles in a huge volley. And they will have to come to terms and negotiate with the United States on our terms. Well, here's the problem with this way of thinking. Famously, Tucker Carlson challenged Ted Cruz, who was in favor of an operation like this, and said, how many people live in Iran? And Ted Cruz had no idea.
There is a plan. There's literally a plan right now. They struck like the top 200 facilities of the IRGC. There's literally a plan.
And he dismissed that and said, that's trivia. That's a trivial detail. What does it matter how many people live there? Well, it actually matters quite a bit, because a country 3 times the size of Iraq with 90 million people and 1 million soldiers is not actually going to be subdued by bombs. What happens the day or the week after Iran's military is utterly destroyed? Well, probably chaos breaks out. Probably people are going to try to flee, and the borders are going to destabilize. Probably people are going to rush to the stores and try to stock up on essentials, which will cause the economy to effectively collapse. There will be looting. There will be chaos. There will be a lapse in critical infrastructure, public services. You're looking at the bottom falling out from the country, and that will actually create a vacuum. It will actually...
Oh, yeah, there's going to be grocery shortages because we killed Khamenei with 0 U.S. casualties. Okay, retard.
Bolden and buttress the Iranian security force, because there will be a need for order, and only that force will be able to provide it. What's more, here's the other problem with this. So Iran's security force is going to be there, attacking Iran, bombing all their cities, killing potentially hundreds, maybe thousands of civilians. What effect does that have on the resolve of Iranians and of the Iranian political leadership? If it's a remnant of the Iranian security forces, who is to say that these people, the survivors who just watched their friends, colleagues, leaders, spiritual figures get murdered in a war of aggression?
Oh, the Iranian soldiers saw their leaders get murdered in a war of aggression. Now they're going to fight harder. Yeah, okay, retard. Okay. We took out the entire leadership with 0 U.S. casualties. Okay.
Who is to say those people are now going to roll over for the United States?
I say that.
Perhaps that works in Venezuela, a much smaller country in terms of territory and population, ruled over by corrupt people with no real ideology, not religious zealots, not even particularly nationalistic, maybe not even ideological anymore, but just plutocrats, just crony socialists or something. Maybe that works in Venezuela, where they're more worried about their personal enrichment or survival. But in Iran, a regime that is literally created by religious police, secret police, a vanguard revolutionary paramilitary with an eschatological opinion and interpretation of their own country and its role in the future of the universe, who is to say that the remnant of that security service is not going to be more hardcore than what came before? Who's to say that they will not be?
Oh, they're going to fight harder. They're going to fight harder, guys. Like this was the total war option. This was the time for total war. They literally had the entire leadership wiped out in 1 hour, 0 US casualties. They're going to work harder, guys. They're going to go harder now. This is the same as like, going against your little brother in Xbox and you're like 20-0 up in FIFA and he's like, oh, I'm going to try now. I wasn't trying. I'm going to go harder now. It's actually absolute cope. They got to go harder now. They got to go harder now. Maybe the time for Iran to go hard was maybe 3 years ago, maybe right after October 7, right after, all their proxies started getting mauled. Maybe that was the time for them to go hard. Now they're going to go hard right after they let literally Khamenei die. They had the 12-day war. They had the entire nuclear facilities bombed, the 12-day war. They didn't even have air superiority over their own capital. They lost all their air defense systems. But now they're going to go even harder, guys. They're going to go even harder. Okay, nice. Good luck. Good luck. Maybe the time for you to go harder was before Khamenei was dead.
Boldened. And their resolve won't be hardened after the strikes. And maybe they don't negotiate then. So what happens the day after? Obviously, then this remnant, whether they're in favor or against the United States, they will seek to rebuild. Just as the Iranian regime after Midnight Hammer began to rebuild the nuclear infrastructure and their missile capability, you have to imagine that the remnant of the Iranian security forces is going to try to rebuild also. It may be a much taller order and basically impossible, but we have to entertain the scenario, maybe the most likely scenario, that hardliners come to power, they retain control of the country rather than an uprising of the people, and they go to work building more missiles in the military. So what does the United States do then? Do they allow Iran to keep going? Do they allow Iran to rebuild and reconstitute on a long enough timeline? Maybe not in months or weeks, but over the course of many years. Obviously not. This gets back to that security equation. What was stopping Israel and the United States before from intervening in Iran? What was preventing us from doing this 10 years ago, 20 years ago? What prevented us from doing this is that we thought Iran was going to build a nuclear bomb. And if we invaded and if we tried to topple the regime, maybe before we were successful, they would have a nuclear bomb. And then they might use it. Then we're in trouble. Missiles, not a big deal. Nuclear bomb on top of a missile, that would pose a problem for Israel and the United States. So that is
You can tell Nick Fuentes really wishes that Iran had a nuclear weapon. He really, really wishes they had nukes because then they could use it to deter Israel and America. He doesn't want his own country to literally dominate the Middle East. He wants Iran to dominate the Middle East. It's actually fucking spiritually raped. It's very spiritually raped. He would prefer Iran dominate the Middle East than his own country.
a deterrent that prevented us from operating in Iranian territory. But it was also their ballistic missile program. Maybe the United States wasn't willing to go in, but Israel always wanted to go into Iran. They were worried about the nuclear program, but they're also worried about the missiles, as you saw last year. When Israel forced our hand to intervene in Iran, it was Israel that had to tap out. It was they that had to plead with Washington to intervene to bring an end to the conflict because Israel was being bombarded with wave after wave of hundreds of Iranian ballistic missiles, drones, cruise missiles, and they were running out of interceptors to shoot them down. So why could Israel not intervene over Iran's skies? Because if they did, they would be bombarded with missiles and it would shut down their country. It's a very small country with not a lot of population centers, and it's hard to have commerce. It's hard to keep people there if your airports and your cities and residential buildings are being hit with hypersonic ballistic missiles. So Israel could not intervene unless the missiles were destroyed. Are you seeing where this is going? Now that Iran's nuclear hedge has been obliterated by Midnight Hammer last year and the operation today, now that its missile capacity has been severely degraded and its navy, which might be able to close the Strait of Hormuz, now Iran is truly defenseless. And what this does is it creates options for further engagement. So you might think this is the climax, this is the be-all, end-all, just as you might have thought the climax was last year. That this is it. This is the war to topple the regime. I don't think so. I think that when we look back in history, this will be characterized as yet another operation to degrade Iran's military capabilities, just like Midnight Hammer, just like the other operations, just like the industrial sabotage, assassinating the scientists, just like all these other operations. This is about systematically defeating in detail Iran's military.
Based. That's good.
So
That's good. I don't
we
understand
can
what
open up a front against.
Why is that bad? Systematically defeating Iran's military. Why the fuck would he cry about that? They hate America. Regardless of Israel, they literally chant death to America. They slaughtered Americans. Why would you cry for them? He actually wants Iran to have a powerful military so as to dominate the Middle East. Raped existence. Literally raped existence.
Against Iran in perpetuity. So in short, what happens when Iran's security force takes back control over the country, and maybe it's led by a hardliner, maybe it's led by another reformer? Well, if diplomacy fails, now Israel and the United States, we can operate in Iran
if you do
with
something bad to us,
impunity.
we are going to do.
If Iran doesn't play ball when this is over in 6 months, in a year, it costs us nothing.
Well said. Today has been an epic mask-off day exposing the do-goodness. Yep, well said.
To intervene. And this is the operational goal, which is to achieve the same situation in Iran as you had in Syria for 15 years. In the same way that Israel took control of Syria's skies and airspace and launched airstrikes constantly, degrading the Assad regime and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard there, Israel seeks to open up the exact same front in Iran. This is not the end. This is actually just the beginning of a new chapter. This is another operational strike to further degrade Iran's military so that there can be future operations. And the ultimate goal is the regime change. The ultimate goal, I imagine, is to eventually create a situation, either at the end of this or some other operation in the future, where through CIA and Mossad backing, Shin Bet, whoever, they are going to back a liberal democratic force. They will back some rival claimant. They will eventually replace the Iranian regime. And then that Iranian regime will be subordinated to Israel in exactly the same way as has happened to Syria and to Iraq and to other countries. I think that is the ultimate goal. And that is the situation as it stands. I think that is what is happening today. And I think that is what will happen in the immediate future. Now, I want to talk about something very specific here. We have to be precise about why we oppose this war. What we're looking at right now, it looks like a military success.
Drew racking up fell for it again awards. Like, what have I fallen for? I wanted Trump to do this. This is base to me. I haven't fallen for anything. I'm not a fucking isolationist. I want Trump to do this. This is based. Trump is doing what I want. I like it. I actually like it. It's based. This is awesome to me. It's actually so funny. Like, people are like, "Oh, Drew fell for it again." What did I fall for? This is what I want to happen. This is actually what I want to happen. It's based.
Success. Again, and appearances can be deceiving, but that is what it looks like. The U.S. and Israel are just having their way. They are dropping bombs. As far as we know, nothing has been shot down. No Americans have been killed. And although Iran has retaliated with missile strikes on the Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, it doesn't seem they are substantial. And Iran's ability to defend itself
Yeah, just like you wanted BLM communism 5 years ago. I completely repudiated my entire history on the left. Everyone on the left wants me dead now. Every single person on the left wants me dead now. So I crossed the Rubicon. I defined myself as right wing. I completely repudiated my left wing past. Everyone on the left hates me now. So I don't have to answer for anything from 5 years ago. I already went across the Rubicon, and I've already had these people say that they want me dead because I crossed the Rubicon. So what you're gonna go, oh, Drew's still a leftist. No, I'm not still a leftist. Everyone on the left wants me dead. Okay, retard.
Or respond. Just take the talking points from Iraq and use them about Iran. Why not? Because if you do, you lose the debate. If you have people hysterically screaming and saying, well, what about Americans are going to die? Well, what if no Americans die? What's your argument then? What do you say to Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin then if hardly any Americans die? And I know that sounds terrible, but if we destroy Iran's regime and, maybe a dozen American soldiers die, the American public will look at that and say, that's worth it. That is what the American public will say. It's just true.
Yeah, Fuentes understands that like the American public supports operations like this when they're victorious and when nobody dies. So what's the problem?
You don't have to like that, but that's the reality. And if in the end the cost is marginal, let's say we get what we want in a short span of time and it doesn't cost us even $100 billion. People are going to say that's a victory. People are going to say, you know what? This isn't nation building. This isn't costing us money. We're not dying for Israel. They're going to say we defeated a regime which actually is oppositional. They don't like us. They're the other axis with Russia and China. The American public are going to be susceptible to the argument that this is a great victory. So what do you say then? The hysterics are not going to work. The talking points are not going to work. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't argue against this. I'm against this. But I'm saying we have to understand why we're against this. Why are we against regime change in Iran? Well, yes, a refugee crisis is a concern. Iran descending into a failed state is a concern.
That's not going to happen.
Becoming a hotbed of terrorism is a concern. The loss of life in Iran or on the part of Americans, cost, mission creep, all those things are concerns. But these are all probabilities and likelihoods. What happens if or when America just wins this one really hard? If it happens, well, then you need to understand the problem here. Why are we fighting in Iran? It's not about nukes. It's not about missiles. The reason that we were brought into this engagement is because Israel seeks regional hegemony in the Middle East. This has been their plan for decades and decades. They sized up their neighbors in the 1970s, and they looked at all of the Arab or Muslim or other countries arrayed against them. And they realized that if they wanted to truly be secure and safe and powerful, they would have to systematically defeat in detail, confront all of their enemies, destroy their regimes, and dismember their states. And only then would Israel be free to expand their territory, gain access to vital resources, and be able to secure its borders. And that's exactly what has happened. Israel has orchestrated over the course of 30, 40 years the destruction of the regime in Iraq, the destruction of the regime in Syria, and regime change in those two countries created opportunities for Iran. Iran filled the vacuum. Iran is much larger than those countries. Much larger population, bigger territory, ancient history, bigger middle class, more money, more oil revenue, bigger military. When Iraq went down, Iran came in and they backed Shiite militias there. And they gained a foothold in the country. It's called the Popular Mobilization Forces. And when Assad was weakened, not defeated, but weakened, it was the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, which deployed in.
Fuentes is very, very tiresome. Very tiresome. There's nothing there that is interesting or unique or new. It's pretty obvious that he's just resentful. He's actually unhappy that America is a hyperpower that is asserting its will throughout the world and winning. with 0 US casualties. He's just so upset about Jews that he's actually sad that a regime that hates America is being defeated with 0 US casualties. Do you have a Rumble or an Odyssey, Drew? I don't have a Rumble. There's some Turkish guy named after Erdogan in the chat spamming shit. I can't block him because I'm using StreamYard, which doesn't allow me to block comments on Twitter. So I'm going to go onto Twitter and try to remove that guy. They're obviously trying to get me banned. It's a bot trying to get me banned, obviously. I'm trying to load up the chat. Fuck's sake. I'm trying to get this guy blocked. Hang on. Yep, muted. Okay, deleted. I'm going to go back and delete all the comments as well. They're obviously trying to get me delete. They're obviously trying to take my stream down. Okay, I deleted that guy, the Erdogan account that was trying to get my. Okay, there's more people, so I'm just going to go through and I'm going to delete all these guys who are trying to get my Twitter taken down. It's literally a Bad Empanada raid attack. Okay. I'm going to mute all these guys. Okay, deleted. They've got bots in the chat that are trying to get my stream taken down. It's literally an attack by the Bad Empanada crowd. These guys are sickos. I didn't. The only person I muted was the account that was trying to get me banned. That's the only one that I muted. It's a great post by a Canadian Exile who's saying they're trying to get Drew banned because they hate hearing the truth. That's actually true. That's true. Literally bots with one follower that were just spamming the N-word in my chat trying to get me banned. It's so obvious what's happening there. Drew, if I had asked you 3 years ago if you had thought you would radically change your views in the next 3 years, do you think you would have said yes or no? Well, I don't know, but I went through a number of events that made me change my views. Being the victim of crime, being brutalized by leftists who want me dead. It's literally that's literally why these people tried to destroy my life. That's why. Leftists hated me and basically showered me with death threats for years. So eventually I just said the left are my enemies. Khomeini supporters are crying in a mosque. I'm going to put this up. Hang on. It's funny. They're crying in a mosque. It's actually really funny. Holy shit. It's actually so funny. Holy shit. Yes, I'm completely opposed to the Sino-Canadian century. I'm against Mark Carney, of course. Can you finally admit Bibi is him? Bibi has been an amazing wartime leader. That's just an obvious fact at this point. He literally he fought a 7-front war and won. You have to put respect on that. That's just incredible military victory. I still think he's too harsh to the civilians in Gaza, but overall, he has actually led an incredible military victory in a 7-front war against a 7-headed Hydra led by the Iranians trying to destroy them. They completely destroyed them. Yeah, fuck Carney. Carney is scum. Carney would be happy to trade the West for China. I hate Carney. All right, guys. Someone said, Drew, read the YouTube channel. I mean, I'm here. I'm reading the YouTube comments here. S27Y8E. I'm reading that. Oh, I want to trade the West to China too, but you voted for Jim Chalmers. Yeah, I completely regret that. Completely repudiate my past leftism. Completely, totally. But what about the price of gas that will inevitably go up? No, there's going to be a lot of big, beautiful oil dumped onto the market now when the Iranian regime's destroyed, and it's going to make prices cheaper. It's going to be beautiful. All right, guys. This is just going to be the end of my stream today. I'm just going to say we're extremely happy. This is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Total victory for the West over the third worldists who want to destroy us. Total victory for my civilization, my team. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. You love to see it. It's just gorgeous. I'm unbelievably happy right now. Khamenei deserved death. He was a brutal tyrant who killed more than 1 million people probably throughout his career. And he died like a dog. He died like a dog. Donald Trump is an amazing president. And Trump will go down in history as an amazing leader. Yeah, there's more. I just banned another account that was trying to take my stream down with the N-word. I just banned another account. So I'm just going to basically delete anyone who's posting slurs on my thing trying to get my stream taken down off YouTube. Fuck them. Obviously, it's a bad empanada. I think it's bad empanada. It's pretty obvious. Pretty obvious. Drew, knew about you from the Gerald Murnane interview. Keep it up. Oh, thank you, man. That's awesome. It's funny because most of the people from that interview probably would not have agreed with my politics, but thank you, man. I appreciate that you're still here. Pontius, great comment. Glory to the West. That's what we're fighting for. Glory to the West. Team West. Team West is winning. Team West. Glory to the West. Thanks, Drew. Have followed you passively. Never watched a stream before. Peace be to all the Iranians in the chat and world. Thank you for joining. Thanks for following my stream. I appreciate it, guys. God bless you all. Total victory for the West. We're going to see total victory. It's going so beautifully. What a great day. This is one of the greatest days of the past 25 years. God bless you all. Slava Ukraine. Putin is next. Victory. Glory and victory. Beautiful. All right. God bless you all. Thank you, guys.